We are back once more on the not so mighty Pajero Sport that has been limping. The poor thing, it's been sick, it's been limping, and I had no idea. I thought something was slightly wrong. I felt that it was a little bit underpowered, but I had no idea. I'd never driven one of these before. Turns out the injectors were pumping out 20% less fuel than they're supposed to. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? This is going to be a rocket ship once we're done. Probably not. It felt pretty slow, so it's going to be normal now. Anyway, we've got the injectors in now, so we can replace those. But before we do that, I want to finish off doing the brakes, which we can now do because I've got new hubs. Now, we're getting a whole new hub was probably a bit overkill, but look, it's done 170,000 Ks now. Replacing the hub with the wheel bearing wasn't too bad a response to a stretched bolt, I don't think, especially considering how cheap these are. Now, it was a bit of a hassle to get the driver side out. The passenger one I've also taken out now. That one went quite a bit easier, which was quite nice. We get to put this on. I think it's going to be a bit of a faff because it looks like it's nearly an interference fit, like it's very, very, very snug in there. But I think we'll be able to do it. And probably the next big issue is we're going to have to try and line up these bolts pretty well because I don't think there's going to be much in the way of spinning it once it's in there. So I actually think that's going to be the hardest. But look, new parts. Hopefully it will go smoothly. It should be easy. Famous last words. Other than that, it's all just little touch-ups there. So we've got a light up here that's fogging up. We want to replace that. I also need to reseal the where the spotlights enter the roof. The roof actually leaks. If it rains enough, water gets in. That's not ideal, especially considering that I've got the UHF at the top there. So there is electronics up there that can get damaged if too much rain gets on them. And then we just tidy everything up, make sure it all looks good, give it a test drive, bleed the brakes. We have to do that before we can give it a test drive. And then all should be well. We can move on to far more interesting projects. I'm keen. Let's get it done. Let's get this hub installed. Was it meant to be that easy? Wait, is it meant to be like that? I was, okay. Right. That's a pleasant surprise. I might check, do some Googling to see if it's meant to be that easy, because that's, wow. Apparently all is well. So we'll put these back on and chalk them up to around 120 Newton meters and then we'll laugh. We're going to do it the same way we did it before. 120 Newton meters right there.
Other than my torque wrench not fitting and not realising I can merely turn the wheel to gain further access, things are going smoothly. With the hubs now torqued to spec, we can move on to installing the brake ducts and other various sensors and shielding in preparation for our new brake rotors, which we are upgrading along with all the other braking components, as I have genuinely noticed a drop in braking performance since installing the bigger wheels and adding all this extra constant weight.
Right, to the other side.
And given the work case for this vehicle to be used as a tow truck and an off-road camper, I think this will be a worthwhile modification.
Yeah, there we go. That is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Let's get my locking nut.
But with regards to modifications, I find it odd that this thing hasn't become something more to me.
How good is that?
Normally, no matter how lame the car is, after I fiddle with it, I find myself growing attached. Not necessarily always an attachment of care and compassion.
Almighty pliers.
I have went through a few bush bashes now I've absolutely loved but had no mechanical sympathy for.
Oh, that's what we want to hear.
However, this Pajero Sport here isn't that, or a labour of love. It feels a tool to me. Not necessarily a fridge, an appliance, but a welder, a tool, something I enjoy working with and need to complete my self-imposed missions. It simply has a job it must do. And all the work, the modifications I've done to it,
Flash new brakes,
are to improve how well it does that work or how comfortably I do that work with it.
Funny how all of this started just because I wanted to change the radiator. Oh, we went down quite the rabbit hole, haven't we? But it's been a good rabbit hole. We've learnt lots and discovered even more. How fantastic is that? And to top it off, we're finally clawing our way out. So the brakes are all sorted. The only thing we have to worry about now is bleeding the brakes, but I'll need a helping hand to get that sorted, so we won't do anything there just yet. But they all look fantastic and I'm super keen to test them out. The next main thing is to finish up what's under the bonnet here. Now, God, I forgot how disgusting this motor looks. Not because it's dirty, but just because there's just so much crap. Anyway, the main thing we need to worry about is how the injectors are seated. So on older diesels and just other diesels, what you do to when you install new injectors, especially if it's really dirty down in the where they seat on the seats themselves, is you use a seat cutter to bore out some metal and most importantly the carbon that's built up there to make sure the injectors seat nice and flush and evenly and everything's sealed properly. And I bought a seat cutter just for that job, and I was really interested to do it because I've never done it by myself before, so I was keen to give it a shot. However, I have since been told that that's not something you do regularly on this motor. Apparently, these heads are a little bit fragile, and even torquing down the injectors wrong can lead to cracking the head. So we're not going to cut the seats of the injectors. We'll just check everything, make sure everything's clear. I don't think I got all the copper washers out. There's a copper washer that sits underneath the, well, between the seat of where the ejector sits on and then the injector itself. There's a copper washer that sits in between that. I believe there's still 2 in there, but we'll check all 4 ports just to be sure. Then once that's done, we can seal the ejectors, torque them all up, make sure they're all sitting pretty happy and flush, tighten up all the fuel lines, bleed the fuel lines for an eternity because it's going to take a while to get all this air out that I've now got in the system, and then start it. Once we get it up and running, once we get it started, obviously we need to bleed the coolant, so we need to do a heat cycle for that anyway, but I do want to just give the whole engine, I want to get it up to temperature and let it idle for some time just so I can double check that I haven't missed anything. I'll check probably the fault codes afterwards just to see if it's reading anything strange, and then I also just want to make sure there's no leaks or anything underneath. If that's all good, then we'll be able to take it for a test drive. Everything clears up there's no leaks there, we'll put the bash plates on and then we're just about done. It's gonna be fantastic. I'm actually so keen to drive it. Now we've got all this extra performance we're going to discover.
I ain't gonna feign confidence here. I am worried. This job, although commonplace, has me stepping cautiously. For all the work, really anything involving such a modern vehicle is well beyond my wheelhouse of capabilities. Though I gotta say it is interesting working on a car again, unbolting and bolting things that I don't even know what they are called, let alone what they are for. Nevertheless, with the injectors homes cleaned out and the new copper washers seated correctly, we can now install the new injectors, which are just factory spec injectors and are not upgraded or modified in any way.
Alright, next injector. Just check. Make sure it's in there. Give that a check because it's not.
With that first injector seated and its saddle torqued down to spec, along with its associated hardline tightened, the rest were a breeze, with my confidence building with every tightened bolt. Though I did still leave as much of the motor exposed as I could, so when we inevitably have to troubleshoot, I can hopefully see our problem.
Where'd your other ball go? Damn, I think that's everything. All right, let's try and prime it. Okay, coolant is good. We've got fuel pressure. Don't see any leaks. Nothing is in way of the fan. Spins freely, belts are on, battery's connected. Here we go. That's good! That is good news!
Brake system service required, we are well aware. I've forgotten how to use the steering wheel. But the only warning we've got, if that's the only warning we've got, we're on to a winner.
Well, all was well. It was running good. It was running really good. But unfortunately, so I noticed there was oil seeping out between the right where the timing cover and the head and the rocker cover meet. So obviously I didn't clean that surface because there is a bit of gasket goo from where the timing cover is. Tried tightening the bolt on the rocker cover that was there and managed to skip a thread, and now that bolt is stuffed. I knew I shouldn't have torqued it. Even when I was sitting there looking at it, I just kept doing that little bit more, and I was like, I torque these up to spec. Like, ultimately I should remove the rocker cover and do it properly, but no. That sucks. That really, really sucks. I don't know what we're going to do about this bolt, because it's very much a specialised bolt. Trying to rush things again. Didn't go well. Right. I suppose let's remove the rocker cover and try again. Oh man, that's rough. That is rough. That there is our culprit. I'll clean her up. Fresh dollop of gasket maker. And should be good.
Out of all the things that could go wrong, this was probably one of the best. The car, it just started. I'm honestly still staggered. It worked first crank. I hadn't forgotten a hose, a plug, sensor, a bolt. There was no rattles, no strange noises, no unexpected warning lights. It just worked straight away. And a gasket, time consuming it may be, that's an easy fix. One I'm more than capable of doing.
Oh, how fun is it? Doing the job twice in the span of a week.
And with it sorted, I ensured to torque down the rocker cover in the correct order, reinstalled the injectors, plugged in all the disconnected wires and sensors, and left the car for a couple hours to allow the gasket maker to set up.
I think, as in regards to this service and the work we've completed thus far, this can be the last time I shut this bonnet. I think we have done everything. I've bled the brakes now. They're all bled. They feel okay. I've fixed up my little spotlight up there. I've sealed where the wiring goes into the roof. I even had time to clean the car, which was much deserved. And I may have gotten a bit carried away and you know, finished up the motor and done all the bash plates, which we'll see whether or not that confidence comes and bites me in the ass when we go to test drive it. But like, it's gotten up to temperature, it's heat cycled, the brakes feel fine. It looks like it's just gonna work. So there's nothing else to do. Let's give it a test drive. Let's see how it goes. Bit of a shame I'm getting in whilst I'm still dirty. I probably should have cleaned myself, but anyway. That's neither here nor there. Right. Starts beautifully. You're right there, you're sniffing the camera. Let's hope to dear God she doesn't go kaboom. I think I'll just go for a quick spin just around the property and just make sure everything feels fine, confirm that the brakes feel okay, and then we'll take her out on the road. Perfect timing, because I need to purchase some bits for the VK Commodore. But let's go and have a listen and see if we can hear anything go kaboom. So I have been driving around now for, well, at least on the road for maybe, I don't know, 10 minutes or so. It works! It's working just fine. I was driving around the farm for maybe another 10 minutes prior, maybe 15, just potting around, feeling the brakes out, feeling everything works. It feels good. The steering's not vibrating. I don't have any wobble from the wheel bearings that we've replaced. The car feels actually amazing. It must have been the injectors, because it actually has more power now, and it's not fast. I don't have massive power gains, but I can sure as hell tell, like it's quite different. Who would have thought? Check your injectors. It actually makes a difference. Getting them checked it's a brilliant idea, and I'm super glad I did it. But everything else feels fine. It's up to temperature. It's not getting hot. The new radiator must be doing its job, which is fantastic. Everything else, everything feels good. My biggest gripe though is, and I can't remember, I should have taken more notice of how the brakes felt before I changed them. And the brakes now, they do feel fine, like they work, and I've got no warning lights on the dash. When we were first bleeding the brakes, we had some warning lights coming up saying, you know, brake service required. But now, everything feels fine. I just feel like I've got too much travel in the pedal. Like I feel like I should be engaging with a bit more bite a bit sooner. So I might still have some air in the system, but they still work, and I've got an ABS to kick in if I stomp on the brakes. So I don't think it's a real danger, but I might try a second attempt at trying to bleed the brakes. Other than that though, I am genuinely impressed at how well this thing works and how much better and livelier it feels. It's a completely different car, like my lord. But like, to sort of wind it back, or to bring it back, and this is more of a, I suppose, a personal note, I'm quietly terrified. Like, I'm not a mechanic, and I've never proclaimed to be a mechanic, and I don't really have any skills. Anything I've got, any skills I do have, is all self-taught. I've got no experience in the industry. And this is such out of my wheelhouse. Like, this car is so out of my wheelhouse. Not only is it a diesel, but it's modern, and I'm not familiar with that at all. Like, I've got no experience in it. And I'm just sort of sitting here waiting for it to go wrong. Like, surely that's what's meant to happen now, isn't it? Like, I think I did everything right. It feels right. It feels healthy and okay. But like, it's gonna go wrong, isn't it? Like, I've not torqued something up properly, or there's an extra step that I didn't know about, or something like that. Like, it's just my lack of confidence ultimately. Like, I just feel like this is so beyond my capability of being able to do, and the fact that I've done it and the fact that it feels fine makes it feel like there's something hidden. Like, I should have started it and then had to troubleshoot. Like, at least if it was a missing plug, I would have been more confident. But like, there's no fault codes, there's no warning messages, nothing. And it works better than when I started with it. So with that, I'm going to continue driving around, maybe take Satine in here out for a little bit of a walk, and then we'll move on to some more interesting, or at least what I think are more interesting projects. I'm staggered though at how good this now feels. Like, it's, as I said, it's not quick, but it's substantially more powerful than what it was. It is like, wow. I'm so glad I got the injector service. Let me check the audio, make sure it's working, it sounds okay. We're gonna double check this time. Is that the cat? Meow. Looks to be working. Let's just walk over here, check that it's working. Appears to be working. Oh, I'm sore. My lord. Before I changed them, and the brakes now, they do feel. They do feel. Let's try again. 20% less fuel. I want to redo this again. Drama. Other than that, I want to do this all over again. I really am not feeling this.